and welcome to the very first episode of the CS Sports Talk with Lily and Shawn. Is that a good name?
Yeah, I like it.
So we're kind of taking and making an executive decision. We do have Aaron as our engineer today. Thank you, Aaron.
Woo!
Woo! There's a clap. There you go. We're making an executive decision. There's only, Wyatt's in California taking care of some very taking care of some very important matters.
Yeah.
Michael's not here. So, and Lily and I, we say we're in a meeting every Monday morning in this very room, but we're actually just talking sports anyway.
Yeah. After a long weekend.
We catch
games,
up,
yeah.
and half of our hour-long meeting is sports talk.
Yeah.
Right? So we're being very productive, actually.
I think so.
Right. And we always bring it back into how what we talk about relates to, not always, but how business, marketing, branding, etc. Right?
Exactly.
So that's the theme of the show, and we got to give 100% of the credit of the show to
my mom. Shout out Amy Ramsey Hypno. I was talking to my mom yesterday, just talking about sports after the Chiefs game, which we'll get into a little bit more, but just how branding and business all ties into sports. And she was like, you and Shawn need to make a podcast about that. And I was like, that is such a great idea. And she was on me the whole night. She was like, have you told Shawn about it yet? And I was like, I will talk to him about it tomorrow. So yes, thank you, Mom, for this idea, but we're very excited.
Yeah, and it's, so we are talking sports.
Yes.
It's something you and I are very passionate about. But we are going to relate it back into, like what we said, how it pertains to business, how you run your business, leadership, branding, the marketing, aspect of it. This was a huge, huge weekend.
Yeah.
And I think every show we're going to try to concentrate, limited to like 3 topics.
Yeah.
One person is going to have 2 of the topics because there's 2 different relatable topics. But then, like Lily mentioned, our last topic, perhaps the biggest topic, was about
Patrick Mahomes in the Chiefs game.
Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
And his little 5-year-old outburst.
Hopefully Patrick Mahomes doesn't see this.
He's so cute when he's mad, isn't he? Aww, little Patrick, little Patty, throwing a little tantrum on the sidelines. So cute. So cute. I just canceled my State Farm policy after I saw it.
Oh, gosh.
So I'm going to get into the big topic. The first 2 topics revolve around Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah.
Right? If you don't know, if you haven't heard the news, Mr. Ohtani signed a 10-year,
$700 million. $700 million.
Even Aaron's eyebrows rolled. I did some side investigation. You know how much the estimated GDP for Japan this year is?
No idea.
It's about, Shohei's contract is 65% of that. I'm not saying it's related to that, but it's like 1.013 billion, and Shohei's contract is 700 million. Shohei, if you haven't put 2 and 2 together, is from Japan. Is 29 years old.
Yep.
6 years with the Los Angeles Angels, which is, a few miles away from Disneyland. And, I grew up a big Angels fan because my grandfather lived literally down the street. So Angels fans are passionate. They know their baseball. They're not thugs. We were talking about that earlier. But they know their stuff, And Shohei, if you've never heard anything about him, the one thing I want to emphasize the most, he just wants to win.
Yeah.
He loves to win. And that's why he signed with the Angels, because Mike Trout was on the team, who arguably before Shohei came on board was the best player in baseball. But he was convinced he could win with the Angels. The Angels haven't surrounded him with anybody. Long story short, they just have not put the right players around Shohei Ohtani. Hence, they did not. You know how many winning records they've had in 6 years with Shohei Ohtani and Mike Trout?
How many?
0. As many points as your Raiders scored yesterday.
Oh, God.
That deserves a twing.
We don't need to talk about the Raiders game.
Mm-hmm.
It's
No,
That one just didn't happen.
Yeah, that would never happen.
Embarrassing after a bye week too.
You know, that's the lowest scoring indoor football game in the history of the NFL.
Wow.
There we
No.
go.
If you haven't caught on, I am a Raiders fan, have been a Raiders fan
Yeah.
since I was born. So,
Yeah.
the 0-3 loss yesterday was crazy. Watched the whole game, actually. So
They needed you at wideout yesterday.
I agree. Yeah. Also, if you didn't know, I dabbled in flag football myself. So.
Dabbled a little bit. Now, you kind of blew me away today, and you what was this thing about the Pro Bowls? How you went to the Pro Bowls?
Yeah, I went to 2 national championships with my all-girls team, actually. We won one, and then the second one I went to, we lost in the semis. So, but it was called the Flag Football National Championships at the Pro Bowl. So we got to play with all the players, and they were like our sideline coaches in the championship. It was really cool.
Yeah, and I bowled a 279 when I was 12. Not the same.
It's so funny. Every time I watch football, I'm like, I met him, and my dad's like, Lily, stop. It's not funny anymore.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So getting back to Shohei,
Yeah.
10 years, $700 million contract. But the 2 topics I want to talk about around Shohei Ohtani, one that he just wants to win, and that's evident with his contract. Okay.
Yeah.
It seems like a lot of money, right? Mm-hmm. But he wants to win badly enough, and he's worth every penny. There's not an athlete in baseball, or I would say in American sports history, who's as phenomenal as Shohei, and there's no close second.
Yeah.
If you want to argue Michael Jordan second, argue that. But even Michael Jordan, what he did, he revolutionized basketball, right? You know, how we wore our shorts and the sneakers we bought and everything else. We want to be cool, just like Michael, right? Mm-hmm. But Shohei's even, and this is all due respect to Michael Jordan, Shohei's on a different level.
Yeah.
Because he's a phenomenal pitcher and a phenomenal hitter. No one's ever come close to being as great as a baseball player at that level ever.
Yeah.
Ever. You know, it was like, you know, one thing, I was good at baseball in high school. I was a good pitcher, really good pitcher. And I was a pretty good hitter too. But doing it at a high school level versus doing it in the major leagues, no one's ever done that.
Yeah.
Babe Ruth did it about 100 years ago, literally 100 years ago, for almost 2 years. That's it.
Wow.
Shohei's done it for 6 already, and he's going to do it for another 10 more.
Yeah.
You know, he's worth every penny, and the Dodgers will recoup all $700 million by this time next year. Yeah. They will. It's a marketing machine there, right? Mm-hmm. But he wants to win badly enough. What's that, Aaron?
I still think it's kind of hard to compare him to Michael Jordan, though.
No, and without, is your mic on?
No.
With all due respect, he's going to get a mic right here. And hold that thought.
Okay.
All right. So what?
Testing 1, 2. Okay, let's make sure you can.
Yeah. So your question, Aaron?
No, I was just saying I don't think he can be compared to Michael Jordan. I think that's a completely different thing, especially if we are approaching it from the standpoint, are we still keeping this in line with marketing?
I love this talk so far. Now, culturally, you can't compare it because Michael Jordan changed everything about the way we dribbled the ball,
right?
The way we wore our shorts.
Okay.
Yeah.
2 of the 6 posters I have up on my room were Michael Jordan posters. I want to be just like him on the court, and even my style, everything. You know what I mean? So you're right. Culturally, no.
Okay.
But as a player, right? Michael Jordan was phenomenal at both ends of the court. Right. Mm-hmm. But, and I witnessed this because I went to go watch Michael Jordan play, when he was tried baseball for about a year and a half.
Yeah.
He couldn't hit a break. I could strike Michael Jordan out, even on my worst day, right? Hitting the baseball, a fastball is coming at you at 101 miles per hour. Think about the fear factor.
Yeah.
You're a great athlete, Lily. Could you step into a batting cage and someone's going to throw you a 100 mile per hour fastball?
I've always thought about softball, baseball. That could never be my thing.
Yeah. But being in it in a batter's box and just having that little blocking off all that fear, and you have that quick to recognize that pitch, see the seams of the ball, and say, is this a fastball? Is it a breaking pitch? Is it did he throw me a changeup?
Yeah.
to make up that your decision that quickly and to coordinate your body to hit that ball, you know, it's baseball players on another level, right?
Yeah.
In my opinion, I'm biased because I love baseball and played baseball and whatever, right? And to be able to do what I'm just describing as being one of the best pitchers in baseball too. No one's ever done that. It happens in high school. It happens below high school, you know, because you have your best athletes, just, you know. But to happen at that level, again, with all due respect, Michael Jordan's, again, probably one of my top 2 or 3 favorite athletes of all time, right? But Shohei's way on a different level, you know, even than that. I'm not criticizing Jordan by any means. He's tremendous, right? I'm just trying to like put a measure on this. It's like as great as Michael Jordan is, Shohei's up here. So
Yeah.
but of his $700 million, he's deferring a lot of that money, right? Why? Because in his own words, he wants the Dodgers to have the flexibility to sign other players. It's not just about him. He wants to win that badly.
Yeah. That just shows how much he wants to win.
Yeah.
Can't win with one good player. They showed that on the Angels because they had him and they didn't win.
Well, he just hit the nail on the head, right?
Boom.
Yeah. And granted, the Dodgers have a number of really good players, but what happens when those good players goes down?
Yeah.
You know,
They don't all have 10-year contracts like him.
yeah, but he's going to come in and he's going to be a leader of that team right away. So from that aspect, I mean, if someone in your organization, and this goes out to the two of you, who makes that quote unquote sacrifice, how does that help the rest of the team?
Yeah.
You know, so have you ever been on a team where someone's kind of made that little bit of a sacrifice? And I really want to know how that would, you know, did you ever make that sacrifice?
I don't know. I would say in my low level of sports, it can't really compare to this big, like, news. But I feel like hearing somebody like Shohei doing something like that, you'll see it a lot more.
Yeah, and absolutely, because it should hopefully serve as a model for someone who's like, you know what, I could sacrifice a little bit for the benefit of the team.
Yeah, and it's not about money. And I think that's,
good point.
Like, sports is like billions and billions and billions of dollars in this business. And a lot of players just want to make money. And that's not how you are going to succeed, because that's not what teams want. They don't want people who are just chasing the money. So I think that's important to see somebody as good and as selfless as Shohei to give up money, which is money. Yeah. Everybody wants money. So it's, yeah.
And again, if you're not familiar with Shohei Ohtani, go online. And the guy is so quirky and funny too. You know, he is. I mean, he loves his teammates. He's always playing jokes on them. He's always in the dugout, kind of like laughing and joking around with them. So he seems like
just a normal guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Doesn't let all the
a normal,
fame
almost
get
billionaire.
To his head. Yeah, I know. As normal as you can be.
Yeah. The country of Japan, by the way, this weekend had a huge celebration. Go online and check that out too.
Yeah.
Go online and check that out. So the second aspect of it and how it pertains to how you can help out your business is that I mean, think about it. I just described him as a player.
Yeah.
Right. What do you think could be one of our biggest obstacles as individuals for our organization sometimes? Well, what gets in your way more times than not?
Your ego, I feel like.
Your egos, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think our mindset.
Yeah, absolutely.
What we can believe, what we can accomplish.
Yeah.
So that's another thing. When I read about him, when I watch him play, that's the one thing. It's like, how the heck did he even come up with this idea? This is what he wanted to do.
Yeah.
You know, there was no role model ahead of him. Mm-hmm. You know, there wasn't. You know, there was somebody he read about 100 years ago, not Babe Ruth.
Yeah.
But, you know, if you were to come in, or if you're starting a business, Lily, you're going to start a business today. What would be your biggest obstacle? If I told you had to start a business tomorrow.
Wow. Like, I would say there's no way.
And that's exactly my point, right?
Mindset for sure.
You say it's no way, but in working with you for, 8 months now?
Yeah.
I finally got that right.
I know.
I finally got that right. I keep saying, yeah, you just started here, Lily, and she's been here. It was a few weeks ago. Shawn, would you be quiet about that? I've been here 7 months already. But yeah, I mean, I think in working with you for 8 months, you could start your own business right now, right?
Yeah.
But it's our mindset.
Yeah.
So
For sure.
if you were, okay, you just started playing pickleball, right?
Yeah.
I got to tell you something about Gordy. Did you see Gordy's post?
Oh, no, I
Giving
didn't.
a big shout out to my buddy Gordy. He jacked up his leg playing pickleball this weekend.
Oh, no.
But, like say okay, Lily, you're going to be on a professional pickleball team.
Okay.
Do you have the confidence you could do it
No.
right now?
No.
But you probably could.
Yeah, if I worked hard enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you set your goals high enough, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I mean, it's mindset. And Shohei Ohtani, I think when he was 10, 11, or 12 years old,
Yeah.
actually wrote out his goals.
Wow.
By 18, he wanted to do this. By 20, he was going to be in the major leagues. By 21, he was going to be an all-star. By 22, a world, etc.
Yeah.
At 24, I'm going to get married. He wrote all that out. And a lot of it's
Wow.
come true. Some of it hasn't yet.
Yeah.
He's not married.
Yeah.
But he literally wrote everything out. And it was his mindset from day one.
Yeah. I think that shows something because I think all of us have written goals out for our lives, especially when we
Yeah.
were younger, but
Yeah.
we do not follow through with them. But
Right.
like his work ethic and his mindset allowed him to follow through with those. That's amazing.
And to me, it's a perfect time to talk about it because we're in the first part, almost the middle of December.
Yeah.
And what's on all of our minds? What was a webinar we just watched
Yeah.
right now?
New Year's goals and resolutions. Yeah.
Do you write out your goals?
Not as much as I should. I know when you write them out, you're more likely to follow through with them. But even the ones that I have written out, I don't follow through with them as much as I should.
Yeah.
So
Aaron, do you write goals out? Do you have like a agenda for yourself?
I do. Some of them I do write down because those are the ones I really want to accomplish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's other ones that I make a mental note of. that
Right.
are not necessarily, I would, not something that's super important, but something I do want to accomplish.
do you follow through with those mental goals often?
Most of the time, yes. But there are times where they'll kind of go by the wayside.
So you're
Yeah.
moving to Bogota next year, right?
Well, that's the plan, but I don't have everything ironed out for that just
Did
yet.
you write that goal down?
I didn't write it down,
No?
but we haven't we're not at the new year yet. So
Not
I
yet.
still have time to write it down.
But what do you do what do we see you doing every day while you're working?
Listening to
Yeah.
information.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And learning Spanish. And so you're moving towards that goal.
Yes.
You take an action every day to improve yourself that 1%. So not if, but when you're there, you're ready to go.
Yeah.
And I love that. I really do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think of it that way.
So you need to write it down. I'm going to get you a map of Colombia to put up on your work desk. So you see it. And that's one of the things. God, what was I? Something this weekend where the person, and she's very successful. I follow her online. I can't remember her name is, but she has accomplished so much just recently. And a lot of it, she's talking about visualization. Seeing yourself there, if you're on a beach, what does it feel like? Can you hear the waves? Can you feel the wind coming? You know what I mean?
Yes.
So do you do that a little bit?
It's so funny you mentioned that. I did that when I actually moved to Tucson almost 10 years ago.
Would you picture yourself in an oven?
Well, you know what? I pictured myself. What makes the move so interesting is that I said I just wanted to be somewhere where there's nice warm weather and I don't want to have to shovel snow anymore.
Well, there you go.
But the mental image I had was actually Florida, but I didn't necessarily say I have to go to Florida.
Okay.
I just need to be somewhere where it's sunny,
Right.
more sunshine. And it turned out that Tucson is one of the sunniest cities in the country, and it worked out. But I didn't necessarily have a specific place.
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting. What about you, Lily? Ever kind of visualize, that winning catch in the end zone,
I
getting
used to
one
do it
foot
in
down?
sports all the time because
Yeah,
my
me
dad
too.
would tell me that. He would
Yeah.
say, because I feel like you are always your worst enemy. And so I used to perform really bad under pressure because I would get in my head.
Yeah.
And so my dad would just be like, visualize it, visualize it. I did this in track and I did it in football and I did it
Yeah.
in gymnastics. And it helps me so much if I just like see myself doing it. I won't get in my head as much because
Yeah.
after I make a mistake, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm terrible. And then I will keep making a mistake.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
definitely in sports, I visualize it a lot. I should probably use it more in other aspects of my life too. But yeah.
And that's exactly the point I'm making. You don't think Shohei, like, not just like visualizing ourselves doing stuff, and I do it all the time as well, but getting past that limit of like, I saw a quote the other day. It's like, you got to think outside the box. Like, that's wrong. You got to there is no box.
Yeah.
Don't even imagine a box.
Yeah.
Get rid of the box.
Yeah.
Right. And get rid of those limiting beliefs of what we can accomplish. And I think that's the biggest thing, all of us, no matter what level or whatever we want to accomplish. If you're completely satisfied at, working at wherever and, working 40 hours a week and that's it, and, whatever makes you happy. But if you're not there yet, then get there.
Yeah.
People that, I worked for myself this year, 8 years now. And I truly believe it's like anybody that really wants to can do it, because I know I did it. I'm not the smartest. I'm not, the most techie. I'm not whatever. My biggest strength is I'm just going to outwork you.
Yeah.
Right. But there's so many people I've met along the way that are absolutely geniuses. They're phenomenal. They're very creative. They could eat my lunch, but they don't apply it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's why I love this idea of the podcast, because part of it is like, look at, and granted, Shohei's 6'4", 220, he does
Definitely
have a
athletic.
little
Yeah.
bit of an advantage, right?
Yeah.
But still,
athleticism only takes you so far. You got to work.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. It only took the Aiden O'Connell so far yesterday. That's the Raiders quarterback.
You probably don't know his name because
You probably don't know his name.
because they should have subbed him out yesterday.
Yeah, but all kidding aside, I mean, even the worst NFL quarterbacks,
Yeah.
even the second and third string dudes are phenomenal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Russell Wilson used to have a coach that it was all a mental coach, and nothing to do with the physical aspect or the diet or whatever.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he passed away a few years ago. But he had a coach that was just talking about the mental aspect of everything, of life.
It's a huge part of it. If you don't believe you can do it, you won't do it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of sports players, they get in their head and then they're like, which is what we're talking about with Kadarius Toney earlier. Like, I really think that all the media and getting into his head is making him perform worse than he was, because he used to be so good. So it really is, mental is a huge part in sports, in business, in your life. Just having that mindset that you can do it and not letting the mistakes and everything get into your head, because you will make mistakes.
Yeah, on that note, take it away for this last topic that we got for you.
So if you didn't watch the Chiefs game against the Bills last night, there was less than a minute left maybe, and a nice play. Patrick Mahomes throws it to Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce throws it back to Kadarius Toney, and then he runs it in for the touchdown. And then there's a yellow flag, and the refs say that Kadarius Toney was offsides, and Patrick Mahomes went crazy. Like, I'm telling you, crying. Maybe I'll put a video somewhere.
Right.
In this, having to be held back by his teammates, he was so frustrated. He was literally crying, screaming at the refs, which is embarrassing. But it was just terrible. And if you watch, obviously it's emotional, you're putting your all into this game, but when it's a right call and it's business, you can't react like that.
Right.
Yeah, it was just terrible.
How many perfect days, this is a question for both of you, how many perfect days have you had here? Everything goes right. everything falls in your lap.
Never.
Never.
Yeah, yeah. And
The thing about it is like that was the right call.
it was. And you can't control everything, but you can control how you react. And he should not have reacted that way. And it made it even worse that in the press conference after, he wasn't like, I was expecting him to say, I'm sorry, like, I totally reacted out of how I should have.
Yeah.
But he was making excuses for his actions. He would have said, or he did say, when you lose a game because of a ref, it's emotional. But no, like, he made the right call. The ref made the right call.
And he was still very pouty about it too. You know,
yeah, Andy Reid too, which is embarrassing for a coach,
Right.
like somebody who you should look up to.
Yeah.
Both of them
Yeah.
definitely lost some locker room cred for sure.
Yeah, and you know, if the flip side happened, if you know a Bills defensive end had lined up off sides
Yeah.
and sacked Mahomes and strip sacked him and ran in for a touchdown, they would have been crying. Well, why didn't you call the offsides?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
His argument was one of the worst arguments ever in sports.
It was just whiny.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he was. You shouldn't call that at that time of the game. So you're saying that the refs should call some plays, and how are they supposed to know that that was going to happen?
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
what if Mahomes threw an interception,
exactly.
and so you're saying they should not have called it then?
Yeah,
So it was just one of the worst arguments I've ever heard, and it was surprising.
yeah, it really was.
It was. I mean, you expect it out of an Eagles or a Giants or a Washington quarterback.
Can you tell he's a Cowboys fan?
A little bit.
Yeah,
But to hear it out of Mahomes.
I know, and especially because this is how we're kind of going to tie it back to business, to branding.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody saw Patrick Mahomes before this as a good guy, good sportsmanship, good athlete, just overall good guy. And now the first thing when you search up Patrick Mahomes, we did this with Jordan, who also works at CS, and he doesn't really follow sports. We were just kind of talking about it, and we're like, just search up his name. And the first thing that shows up is Patrick Mahomes, what's crazy to the refs. Like, he's ruining his reputation over this, which the Chiefs never wanted this to be what their brand is.
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes never wanted this to be what his brand is. And it's just kind of going to change it from here because everybody saw who he really is. And you have to align who you are with your team or your business and how you react to everything, because not everything's going to go your way.
Yeah.
So it was ridiculous.
So here's a question for the two of you, and I just thought of this right now. Travis Kelce did not say anything, not that I know of.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything.
Do you think any of that has to do with his relationship with one Taylor Swift? This is a good question, huh, Aaron?
It is.
Yeah.
Well,
Do you think he's like, no, I'm not going to do it because, you know, I got this, you know, upper echelon brand now that I'm, you know, Mr. Taylor Swift?
well, he is very high profile right now, more than ever, because
Yeah.
of Taylor Swift. So that could be part of it, that he doesn't want to ruin his
Yeah.
reputation, because
Or-
everybody is looking at him right now. Like, when I was logging in to your iPad, I saw ESPN, and it was like, sorry, Swifties, Travis Kelce didn't make that last touchdown.
Right.
And so they always do tie it back to something like that. So that could be a reason why he's not saying anything, because people are watching him.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you say Reputation just because it's one of her songs right
Oh
now? by the way?
gosh, no, I didn't. No, are you a Swiftie?
No, but I'll give, you know, the big shout out to my
To your son
son.
and your
who's
daughters.
Literally, Aaron, according to Spotify, my son's a top 3% of Taylor Swift fans.
Oh, wow.
And my youngest daughter, who turns 24 tomorrow, she's top 1%. So, yeah.
There you go. Yeah, I didn't mean to put that together, but I can pretend I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
But I don't know. Who knows if he agrees with Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid? But if he does, it's smart that he's not saying anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
Totally agree. And, you know, I mean, what about like State Farm and the other things that Mahomes
Yeah.
is a brand ambassador to?
That's why it's hard, because these brands don't want to be associated with somebody who throws tantrums like that.
Right.
So who knows?
Yeah.
That's why you have to be so careful about, because even when you're not working, or even, you have to align with those values, because
Yeah.
somebody can see you out wherever if you're acting
Right.
like a child. Like, everybody knows where you work or something. It always connects back.
And that's
So
such a
you
great
just got to
point.
follow
That's
with
such
it.
a great point you're making right now, because you really got to be careful of where you go and who you hang out with.
Absolutely.
Because the rest of Tucson or Southern Arizona or
Yeah.
the world can know where you're at in an instant.
Yeah.
You know, someone takes a picture of you and, hey, I'm hanging out with Shawn and we're
Mm-hmm.
at the dingiest dive bar in Tucson. You know, it's like, that's why, I stopped going there. I'm just kidding. But, it's one of those things where you got to be careful where you go and who you hang out with,
Yeah.
because we're in this world today and that's how this relates. That's how this whole discussion
Yeah.
really relates to, you as a listener. You got to be careful. There is one local company in town who recently hired, well, not recently, but hired an outside salesperson a while ago. And I was shocked. I'm like, why would you hire this person? It's like, this person is not a great guy and everything, but I would never hang out with this guy. The guy is just not the most stellar reputation off the court, so to speak. you
Yeah.
know? So I don't know. You got to think about that stuff. Got to think
Yeah.
about it. So we limit ourselves to 3 topics every sports show, because we could probably go on forever.
Yeah, for sure.
Forever. And I think what we're going to do is 3, topics that are present,
Off the press.
hot off the press.
Yeah.
We do this every Monday.
Yep.
Because it's right after the sports weekend. Who do your Raiders have next weekend?
They play the Chargers on Thursday night.
Thursday night.
Yeah.
How many points did the Chargers score this weekend?
I don't know, but the Chargers they're like the Lions. They are so inconsistent.
Well,
So.
their dude broke the right ring finger off his throwing hand.
Justin Herbert?
Yeah.
Okay, I saw that he
Yeah.
was sitting out. Okay. Well,
yeah.
we'll talk about this.
The Raiders have a shot.
Yeah, I hope so. We'll see.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
We'll talk a little. Let's talk about the Raiders' history
Yeah.
and their brand next episode, and then we'll pick
Yeah.
2 things that happen over next weekend.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So
Yeah.
if you as the listener want us to rant about any sports related topics,
We would love to.
yeah, put in the comments below. If you agree or disagree with anything that we said, put in the comments below.
Yeah.
We want to hear from you, because 9 out of 10 people that listen to sports shows think that you're right and we're wrong. But I'm going to tell you, 10 out of 10 people listening to our show are wrong about what we just have to say. I'm just going to put it out there. There's so many sports people out there that think they know everything. I went to the U of A game this weekend, and there's so many. I'm going to call my fellow U of A Wildcat fans out. Because there's so many Wildcat fans, young and old, who complain about everything. We're beating Wisconsin, one of the top defensive teams in basketball for decades now. Did you know this was Wisconsin's worst defeat since 1994?
Wow.
No one's scored this many points on them for 3 decades.
Wow.
We have not beat a top 25 team by this bad since 2002. We're killing Wisconsin. Wisconsin did not have a run in them. Usually in a basketball game, there's like 4 or 5 runs. Wisconsin never made a run.
Yeah.
We just killed them, and we weren't breaking a sweat. But there's some dude behind me getting on Pella Larson for missing her free throw, and I'm
Yeah.
like, oh my God, we're up by 35 points.
I think that's every sports fan. When things not going your way, then you find something to complain about.
Oh my God, it
Yeah.
drives me crazy. And there's a lot of U of A fellow fans out there that do that. Stop
Hopefully
it.
they didn't watch this far.
They're the same people that are going to complain if we don't play well against Oklahoma and Alamo Bowl, right?
Yeah.
We were 9-3 after winning 1 game after 2 years. I don't care if we get blown out by Oklahoma, to be
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah.
We won 9 games this year. We're great season.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm saying 10 out of 10 people are going to be wrong about what you and I just said. Thank you, Aaron, for engineering us.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for listening to our first CS Sports Talk.
Yeah. Thank you guys.